Are you struggling with tricky grammar rules that are costing you points on the Praxis Core Writing exam, test code 5723? If so, you're not alone. Usage questions are one of the trickiest parts of the Praxis Core Writing exam, but with the right strategies, you can tackle them with confidence. Today, we'll break down how these questions work and walk you through a few authentic usage practice questions step by step. By the end of this video, you'll know what to expect, how to approach these questions, and how to avoid costly errors. Let's jump in. First, what are usage questions? These are questions that test your ability to identify and correct grammar, punctuation, word usage, and sentence structure errors. In each question, you'll be shown a sentence with 4 underlined portions. Your job is to decide which part contains an error and select the corresponding answer. If there aren't any errors, you'll just choose the no error option. Here's an important bit of info for you. There will never be more than one error in the sentence. There might not be any, but there won't be more than one. All right, let's look at some authentic practice problems like the ones you can expect on test day. Look at the first one. We have the sentence, each of the athletes were asked to bring their own water bottles to practice since hydration is important for staying healthy. We need to evaluate the underlined words here to see if they actually fit grammatically. We've got were, there, important, and staying healthy. Let's see if we can find an error here. Let's start by breaking this sentence into pieces and looking at each one. Our subject is each. This is singular. Even though athletes is plural, it's part of a prepositional phrase, so that isn't going to affect the singularity of the subject because each is singular. We're going to be looking for a singular verb to go with it. Our verb here is were, and that's not a singular verb, so I think we just found our error. To clarify this, let's remove the prepositional phrase to see how that sounds. Each were asked. Still not sure? Let's try a different singular subject. How about the student were asked? See how that's not the correct subject-verb agreement? The student was asked, and each was asked to have the correct subject-verb agreement. So our answer for this one is A. Now, I know I said there's only going to be one error per question, but let's just see why the other options aren't errors real quick. Even though each is singular, we're still referring to multiple athletes, so as a group, they would be referred with the pronoun there. We wouldn't say each of the athletes were asked to bring her water bottle for 2 reasons. First, what if they weren't all female? And second, there's more than one. The word important is an adjective that modifies hydration. Its usage is correct because it clearly conveys the intended meaning and is consistent in this sentence structure. Let's say the word was importantly, then it would be wrong because it's an adverb and an adverb can't modify a noun, and hydration is a noun. Lastly, staying healthy is a grammatically correct gerund phrase that acts as the object of the proposition for. It explains the purpose of hydration, so its role and meaning are correct here. All right, ready for another one? Okay, this one says the students completed their projects on time and submitted them to the teacher, who was impressed with their hard work and gave positive feedback. Our underlined words are completed, submitted, who was impressed, and gave positive feedback. But also notice that the comma is included in that third underlined part. We'll consider that. We'll start with completed. The students completed is correct grammar. And now we've set the tone that this has already happened. So unless something is introduced that shifts the actions to the present, each verb should be past tense. Looking at this sentence, there's nothing like that. So all the verbs should stay past tense. So let's keep going. The students completed their projects on time and submitted them. Okay, we're still in past tense, and this verb works in relation to the subject. The students completed and the students submitted. So far, so good. Let's add the next part. The students completed their projects on time and submitted them to the teacher, comma, who was impressed. Now we're starting a relative clause, and as you know, the subject of the clause should be what directly precedes it. In this case, it is the teacher who is impressed. It should also be separated by a comma, which it is, so this is still good. Let's finish this up. The students completed their projects on time and submitted them to the teacher, who was impressed with their hard work and gave positive feedback. We now have a coordinate clause, which is connected by and includes another action. However, this action is still performed by the teacher, so this entire clause is correctly related to the appropriate subject. I don't know about you, but this sentence looks great to me. There are no grammatical, punctuation, or incorrect word usage errors, so I'm selecting E as the correct answer. Let's do one more. The professor handed out the syllabus on the first day of class and said, "This will be your guide to the course. Use it wisely throughout the semester." For this one, we're not just looking at word usage. Notice the underlining also includes punctuation a couple times here. This is going to be common for some usage questions, so always pay attention to everything that's underlined. Let's isolate the first part of this sentence. The professor handed out the syllabus on the first day of class. This contains the first underlined part, on the first day. We have our subject. We have a correct corresponding verb that's in the past tense. We have an object that received the action, and now we have prepositional phrase that correctly modifies the action. As a whole, this independent clause is grammatically correct. For the next part, when including dialogue or a quote, you precede the spoken part with a comma. It looks like we did that, so this is looking good. Now for the final part. We have another independent clause, meaning this can stand on its own, but it's preceded by a comma. That's not right. These two independent clauses should be separated by a semicolon, or we can just make the second clause a separate sentence. Either way, the comma usage is wrong, so the answer to this one is D. We can stop here since there's only one correct answer, but I'll explain why throughout isn't an error real quick. This is introducing the prepositional phrase throughout the semester. Since the clause refers to a duration and the word throughout is consistent with the time frame, it's appropriately used in this context. All right, we've looked at a few types of usage questions you can see on the Praxis Core Writing exam. How did you do? Did you agree with my choices? If you didn't or have any other questions, drop me a comment below. Remember, success on the Praxis Core Writing exam comes down to recognizing common writing mistakes like subject-verb agreements, pronoun agreements, and incorrect punctuation. For more practice, check out our Praxis 5723 playlist here on YouTube. And for even more detailed practice, strategies, and walkthroughs, make your way over to study.com and check out one of our practice test prep courses. Our users boast a 92% pass rate, and our courses include full-length exams, hundreds of authentic practice questions, and additional video lessons specifically tailored to the latest test updates. With our resources, you'll know exactly what to expect on test day. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for even more preparing for your Praxis test. I'd love to hear how it went, so come back and leave a comment letting me know. Thanks for watching and happy studying.